and welcome to ASMR Galaxy. My name is Jaxson Galaxy, and today's video is an ADHD relief background audio, reading boring Wikipedia pages just so you can have some noise in the background to ignore so that you can focus or fall asleep. I really enjoyed the way that the last one turned out, so I thought I would try it again today with a little bit of a twist. I have not used my voice at all today. This recording is the first I've used it today. I like the way that sounds, and I like the way that it gives the audio a certain type of feel. Since this is an audio to help you fall asleep, I'll get all of the things for YouTube out of the way up front. Please consider subscribing to the channel, liking the video if you enjoyed it, turning on notifications if you'd like to be notified of when we upload these videos. Please check out the description for links to our other channels and to our Patreon page if you'd like to help us fund these videos. Currently, anything that we get donated is going towards paying for a surgery that my cat just had. So if you'd like to help us out, please do so, but don't feel obligated by any means. Grass. In Latin, Poaceae. This article can be found at wikipedia.org/wiki/Poaceae. Poaceae, or Gramineae, is a large and nearly ubiquitous family of monocotyledonous flowering plants known as grasses. It includes the cereal grasses, bamboos, and the grasses of natural grassland and species cultivated in lawns and pasture. The latter are commonly referred to collectively as grass, with around 780 genera and around 12,000 species. The Poaceae is the fifth largest plant family, following Asteraceae, Orchidaceae, Fabaceae, and Rubiaceae. The Poaceae are the most economically important plant family, providing staple foods from domesticated cereal crops such as maize, wheat, rice, barley, and millet, as well as feed for meat-producing animals. They provide, through direct human consumption, just over one-half, approximately 51%, of all dietary energy. Rice provides 20%, wheat supplies 20%, corn supplies 5.5%, and other grains 6%. Some members of Poaceae are used as building materials, such as bamboo, thatch, and straw. Others can provide a source of biofuel, primarily the conversion of maize to ethanol. Grasses have stems that are hollow, except at the nodes, and narrow alternate leaves borne in two ranks. The lower part of each leaf encloses the stem, forming a leaf sheath. The leaf grows from the base of the blade, an adaptation allowing it to cope with frequent grazing. Grasslands, such as savanna and prairie, where grasses are dominant, are estimated to constitute 40.5% of the land area of Earth, excluding Greenland and Antarctica. Grasses are also an important part of vegetation in many other habitats, including wetlands, forests, and tundra. Though they are commonly called grasses, seagrasses, rushes, and sedges fall outside this family. The rushes and sedges are related to the Poaceae, being members of the order Poalis, but the seagrasses are members of the order Elismatales. Etymology. The name Poaceae was given by John Hedley Barnhart in 1895, based on the tribe Poaceae described in 1814 by Robert Brown, and the type genus Poae described in 1753 Carl Linnaeus. The term is derived from the ancient Greek word for fodder. Evolutionary history. Grasses include some of the most versatile plant life forms. They became widespread toward the end of the Cretaceous period, and fossilized dinosaur dung have been found containing phytoliths of a variety that include grasses that are related to modern rice and bamboo. Grasses have adapted to conditions in lush rainforests, dry deserts, cold mountains, and even intertidal habitats, and are currently the most widespread plant type. Grass is a valuable source of food and energy for all sorts of wildlife and organics. Before 2005, fossil findings indicated that grasses evolved around 55 million years ago. Findings of grass-like phytoliths in Cretaceous dinosaur coprolites from the latest Cretaceous-aged Lamenta Formation of India have pushed this date back to 66 million years ago. In 2011, revised dating of the origins of the rice tribe Oryzaceae due to findings from the same deposit suggested a date as early as 107 to 109 Maya. Wu, Yu, and Li in 2018 described grass microfossils extracted from specimen of hadrosaurid dinosaur Equijubus normani from the early Cretaceous Zongo Formation in China, which were found to belong to primitive lineages within Poaceae, similar in position to Animalcloideae. The authors noted that India became separated from Antarctica, and therefore also all other continents, approximately at the beginning of the late Apatian. So the presence of grasses in both India and China during the Cretaceous indicates that the ancestor of Indian grasses must have existed before the late Apatian. Wu, Yu, and Li considered the Barremian origin of grasses to be probable. The relationships among the three subfamilies Bambusoideae, Oryzoideae, and Poideae in the BOP clade have been resolved. Bambusoideae and Poideae are more closely related to each other than Oryzoideae. This separation occurred within the relatively short time span of about 4 million years. According to Lester Charles King, the spread of grasses in the late Cenozoic would have changed patterns of hill slope evolution, favoring slopes that are convex upslope and concave downslope and lacking a free face were common. King argued that this was the result of more slowly acting surface wash caused by carpets of grass, which in turn would have resulted in relatively more soil creep. Description: grasses may be annual or perennial herbs, generally with the following characteristics. The stems of grasses, called culms, are usually cylindrical, more rarely flattened but never three-angled, and are hollow, plugged at the nodes where the leaves are attached. Grass leaves are nearly always alternate and deciduous in one plane, and have parallel veins. Each leaf is differentiated into a lower sheath hugging the stem and blade with the entire margin. The leaf blades of many grasses are hardened with silica phytoliths, which discourage grazing animals. Some, such as swordgrass, are sharp enough to cut human skin. A membranous appendage or fringe of hairs, called a ligule, lies at the junction between the sheath and the blade, preventing water or insects from penetrating into the sheath. Flowers of Poaceae are characteristically arranged in spikelets, each having one or more florets. The spikelets are further grouped into panicles or spikes. The part of the spikelet that bears the floret is called a rachilla. A spikelet consists of two, or sometimes fewer, bracts at the base, called glooms, followed by one or more florets. A floret consists of the flower surrounded by two bracts, one external, the lemma, and one internal, the polea. The flowers are usually hermaphroditic, maize being an important exception, and mainly anemophilous or wind-pollinated, although insects occasionally do play a role. The perianth is reduced to two scales, called loducles, that expand and contract to spread the lemma and polea. These are generally interpreted to be modified sepals. The fruit of grasses is a caryopsis, in which the seed coat is fused to the fruit wall. A tiller is a leafy shoot, other than the first shoot produced from the seed. Growth and development. Grass blades grow at the base of the blade and not from elongated stem tips. This low growth point evolved in response to grazing animals and allows grasses to be grazed or mown regularly without severe damage to the plant. 3 general classifications of growth habit presenting grasses: bunch type, stoloniferous, and rhizomatous. The success of the grasses lies in part with their morphology and growth processes, and in part their physiological diversity. There are both C3 and C4 grasses, referring to the photosynthetic pathway for carbon fixation. The C4 grasses have a photosynthetic pathway linked to specialized Cran's leaf anatomy, which allows for increased water use efficiency, rendering them better adapted to hot, arid environments. The C3 grasses are referred to as cool season grasses, while the C4 plants are considered warm season grasses. Bullet-pointed list: annual cool season: wheat, rye, annual bluegrass, annual meadowgrass, and oat. Perennial cool season: orchard grass, cocksfoot, fescue, Kentucky bluegrass, and perennial ryegrass. Annual warm season: maize, sungrass, and pearl millet. Perennial warm season: big blue stem, Indian grass, Bermuda grass, and switchgrass. Although the C4 species are all in the PAC-MAD clade, it seems that various forms of C4 have arisen some 20 or more times in various subfamilies or genera. In the Aristida genus, for example, one species is C3, but the approximately 300 other species are C4. In another example, the whole tribe of Androbogoniae, which includes maize, sorghum, sugarcane, Job's tears, and bluestem grasses, is C4. Distribution. The grass family is one of the most widely distributed and abundant groups of plants on Earth. Grasses are found on every continent, including Antarctica, with the presence of Antarctic hairgrass on the Antarctic Peninsula. Ecology. Grasses are the dominant vegetation in many habitats, including grassland, salt marsh, reed swamp, and steppes. They also occur as a smaller part of the vegetation in almost every other terrestrial habitat. Grass-dominated biomes are called grasslands. If only large, contiguous areas of grasslands are counted, these biomes cover 31% of the planet's land. Grasslands include pampas, steppes, and prairies. Grasses provide food to many grazing mammals, such as livestock, deer, and elephants, as well as to many species of butterflies and moths. Many types of animals eat grass as their main source of food, and are called graminivores. These include cattle, sheep, horses, rabbits, and many invertebrates, such as grasshoppers, and the caterpillars of many brown butterflies. Grasses are also eaten by omnivorous or even occasionally by primarily carnivorous animals. Grasses are unusual in that the meristem is near the top of the plant, hence grasses can quickly recover from cropping at the top. The evolution of large grazing animals in the Cenozoic contributed to the spread of grasses. Without large grazers, fire-cleared areas are quickly colonized by grasses, and with enough rain, tree seedlings. Trees eventually outcompete most grasses. Trampling grazers kill seedling trees, but not grasses. Taxonomy. There are about 12,000 grass species in about 771 genera that are classified into 12 subfamilies. To see the full list, please visit the website. Uses. Grasses are, in human terms, perhaps the most economically important plant family. Their economic importance stems from several areas, including food production, industry, and lawns. They have been grown as food for domesticated animals for up to 6,000 years, and the grains of grasses such as wheat, rice, maize, and barley have been the most important human food crops. Grasses are also used in the manufacture of thatch, paper, fuel, clothing, insulation, timber for fencing, furniture, scaffolding, and construction materials, floor matting, sports turf, and baskets. Food production. Of all crops grown, 70% are grasses. Agricultural grasses grown for their edible seeds are called cereals or grains, although the latter term, when used agriculturally, refers to both cereals and legumes. 3 cereals, rice, wheat, and maize, provide more than half of all calories consumed by humans. Cereals constitute the major source of carbohydrates for humans, and perhaps the major source of protein, including rice in southeastern and eastern Asia, maize in Central and South America, and wheat and barley in Europe, northern Asia, and the Americas. Sugarcane is the major source of sugar production. Additional food uses of sugarcane include sprouted grain, shoots, and rhizomes, and in drink they include sugarcane juice, plant milk, as well as rum, beer, whiskey, and vodka. Bamboo shoots are used in numerous Asian dishes and broths, and are available in supermarkets in various sliced forms, in both fresh, fermented, and canned versions. Lemongrass is a grass used as a culinary herb for its citrus-like flavor and scent. Many species of grass are grown as pasture for foraging or as fodder for prescribed livestock feeds, particularly in the case of cattle, horses, and sheep. Such grasses may be cut and stored for later feeding, especially for the winter, in forms of bales of hay or straw, or in silos as silage. Straw, and sometimes hay, may also be used as bedding for animals. Industry. Grasses are used as raw material for a multitude of purposes, including construction and in the composition of building materials such as cob for insulation, in the manufacture of paper and board such as oriented structural straw board. Grass fiber can be used for making paper and for biofuel production. Bamboo scaffolding is able to withstand typhoon-force winds that would break steel scaffolding. Larger bamboos and arundodonaks have stout culms that can be used in a manner similar to timber. Arundo is used to make reeds for woodwind instruments, and bamboo is used for innumerable implements. Common reed is important for thatching, and grass roots stabilize the sod of sod houses. Reeds are used in water treatment systems, in wetland conservation, and land reclamation in Afro-Eurasia. Lawns and ornamental use. Grasses are the primary plant used in lawns, which themselves derived from grazed grasslands in Europe. They also provide an important means of erosion control along roadsides, especially on sloping land. Grass lawns are an important covering of playing surfaces in many sports, including football, soccer, American football, tennis, golf, cricket, softball, and baseball. Ornamental grasses, such as perennial bunch grasses, are used in many styles of garden design for their foliage, inflorescences, and seed heads. They are often used in natural landscaping, xeriscaping, and slope stabilization in contemporary landscaping, wildlife gardening, and native plant gardening. Sports turf. Grass playing fields, courses, and pitches are the traditional playing surfaces for many sports, including American football, association football, baseball, cricket, golf, and rugby. Grass surfaces are also sometimes used for horse racing and tennis. Type of maintenance and species of grass used may be important factors for some sports and less critical for others. In some sports facilities, including indoor domes and other places where maintenance of a grass field would be difficult, grasses may be replaced with an artificial turf, a synthetic grass-like substitute. Cricket. In cricket, the pitch is a strip of carefully mowed and rolled grass where the bowler bowls. In the days leading up to the match, it is repeatedly mowed and rolled to produce a very hard, flat surface for the ball to bounce off. Golf. Grasses on golf courses is kept in three distinct conditions, that of the rough, the fairway, and the putting green. Grass on the fairway is mown short and even, allowing the player to strike the ball cleanly. Playing from the rough is a disadvantage because the long grass may affect the flight of the ball. Grass on the putting green is the shortest and most even, ideally allowing the ball to roll smoothly over the surface. An entire industry revolves around the development and marketing of grass varieties for golf courses. Tennis. In tennis, grass is grown on very hard-packed soil, and the bounce of a tennis ball may vary depending on the grass's health, how recently it has been mowed, and the wear and tear of recent play. The surface is softer than hard courts and clay, so the ball bounces lower, and players must reach the ball faster, resulting in a different style of play which may suit some players more than others. Among the world's most prestigious court for grass tennis is Centre Court at Wimbledon, London, which hosts the final of the annual Wimbledon Championships in England and one of the 4 Grand Slam tournaments. Economically important grasses. To see the bullet-pointed list, please visit the website. Role in society. Grasses have long had significance in human society. They have been cultivated as feed for people and domesticated animals for thousands of years. The primary ingredient of beer is usually barley or wheat, both of which have been used for this purpose for over 4,000 years. In some places, particularly in suburban areas, the maintenance of a grass lawn is a sign of a homeowner's responsibility to the overall appearance of their neighborhood. One work credits lawn maintenance to, quote, the desire for upward mobility and its manifestation in the lawn. As Virginia Jenkins, the author of The Lawn, put it quite bluntly, quote, upper middle-class Americans emulated aristocratic society with their own small, semi-rural estates. In general, the lawn was one of the primary selling points of these new suburban homes, as it shifted social class designations from the equity and ubiquity of urban homes connected to the streets with the upper middle class designation of a healthy green space and the status symbol that is the front lawn, end quote. In communities with drought problems, watering lawns may be restricted to certain times of day or days of the week. Many United States municipalities and homeowners associations have rules which require lawns to be maintained to certain specifications, sanctioning those who allow the grass to grow too long. The smell of freshly cut grass is produced mainly by CIS-3-hexanol. Some common aphorisms involve grass. For example, quote, the grass is always greener on the other side, end quote. This suggests an alternate state of affairs will always seem more preferable to one's own. Quote, don't let the grass grow under your feet, end quote, is used to tell someone to get moving. Quote, a snake in the grass, end quote, means that dangers are hidden. Quote, when elephants fight, it's the grass which suffers, end quote, tells of bystanders caught in the crossfire. A folk myth about grass is that it refuses to grow where any violent death has occurred. This Wikipedia article has 35 sources and was last edited on the 28th of May, 2021. Thank you for listening.